trying to be a parent, but I gotta run an errand. I promise when I'm back, I'ma feed my kid a carrot. Damn, this stuff is tough, man, I thought it was inherent. I'm trying to be a parent, I'm trying to be a parent. Sometimes you gotta drink, cause that shit can be kinda stressful. Sometimes you hit the blunt, cause that green will help you rest, yo. You know your ass be slacking when you gotta look up things on YouTube. Like, bro, how you wipe your baby boo-boo? Now welcome to the podcast, trying to parent and make moms laugh. Who you know got it like the King's family. Amanda and Sean, it's the name G, yeah. Now welcome to the podcast, trying to parent and make pops laugh. Who you know got it like the King's family. Amanda and Sean, it's the name G, yeah.
What up?
What's going on?
Welcome back to episode number 2.
Dose.
Speaking of number 2s, I probably should have taken a number 2 before this. I feel the urge. As soon as you drink a little bit of that alcohol, it gets you.
Yep. I took mine today. Oh, my abs are sore.
Yeah. I gotta make sure I sit up straight. My back is... Anyways, this is the Trying to Parent podcast. Like I said, episode number 2. And we just got back from our honeymoon.
Yep, sure did.
Hopefully, you have a baby that you're going to be ready to poop out in about 9 months.
Pretty sure that's not how that works. But yeah, hopefully, though, we did it all over. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess before we get into any of this, we should do the
disclaimer.
Oh, that's going to be good.
We are married to each other. We are not married to any of these ideas. We are not giving anyone advice on how to raise their children.
Seems professional.
We do not know what the hell we are doing. Hence the name, Trying to Parent. This is all trial and error. We are simply trying not to raise a couple of assholes. With that being said, make sure to tune in next week. Peace.
Yeah, okay. I guess I've been doing disclaimer at the end of the show last time, so sure, tune in next week as well, but also tune in right now, because
here we go.
It's been a while since we've done that. So yeah.
We just got back from our honeymoon last weekend. We were gone 18 days.
18 days.
And we went to 7 different countries in Europe. Holy shit.
7 countries.
That's a lot.
It was a blast.
Yeah, seriously. It was just beautiful, cold, magical, winter wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of food and lots of hot wine.
A lot of hot wine. Lots of hot wine. I think they call it like Glogi most places, or offshoot of that.
Yeah, Glogi, Glühwein. That's only German and Finland. I don't know how to say.
A lot of other places.
Mulled wine.
Mulled wine, yeah.
Yeah, they all have their own different like spin on it.
Mm-hmm. So we went to Finland, and then Poland, and then Budapest, and then we were supposed to go to Vienna, Austria, but they shut down.
Yeah, right before we left for our trip.
Right before we left, so we decided to take the train right over to Bratislava, Slovakia, and then we went to Prague, Czech Republic, Chechnya, whatever you want to call it, and then up to Hamburg, where we visited my good friend Freddie in Germany, and then over to Copenhagen, Denmark, and back to
Helsinki for our flight back home.
Yes. So, great freaking honeymoon. Got some beautiful snow. Again, everything was amazing. Highly suggest going over those places. I'm sure they're completely different during the summer months. There was a fuckload of people there, though, especially in Budapest and in Prague, because those are big-time cities.
Yeah. People everywhere.
A lot of fucking kids, too.
In Slovakia.
Just a lot of, I feel like I saw a lot of kids.
Just out and about.
A lot of places. So I don't know if it was people from surrounding countries that were bringing their kids there on, just trips, just traveling with their little ones.
Yeah, we saw a couple of field trips where like a whole bunch of kids were out and about in the city too.
There were 1 million field trips.
Yeah.
There was 1 million field trips in Bratislava, and
all these fucking kids around.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, there's like 30 of them.
Yeah, I guess when you live in such cool places like that, they're like, hey, we could do a field trip like every week and show you something new. Not like if you're 5 years old, though, you're absorbing that information, but maybe you are. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Energy, at least.
We didn't tell anybody to make sure to, follow us on our social media. So the Facebook would be trying the number 2 parent. The Instagram would also be trying the number 2 parent.
Go ahead and follow us on both.
Yes, and then YouTube if you want to watch, because we are shooting this and there is video.
Lovely footage.
So that would be trying space the number 2 space parent. I'm pretty sure they're very picky about how you type that shit in. Yeah. And then wherever you listen to us, thank you so much. You can listen to us basically anywhere podcasts are available. But also, if you're listening to us on the Apple Podcast app.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that, whatever says now, subscribe, follow, give us 5 stars, please. We are trying to make this thing poppin'.
I don't know how these kids are going to go to college. So hopefully something comes of this. I ain't paying for shit. Better get yourself a scholarship.
We need some follows, some 5 stars. Tell us what you like. Tell us what we can improve on. Be nice, though, because if I'm pregnant, I'm going to take that shit real personal.
Yeah, show me that you like me. Show me that you like me.
Come on, Mark. Come on. Show me that you like me.
Show me that you like me.
Hopefully you guys will eventually get our other...
A lot of old drops from our previous show.
Yep.
Yeah, so the honeymoon was great. Like you said, we fucked a lot of places. Fucked everywhere.
We did.
So
we fucked everywhere.
Hopefully you're pregnant. We don't really know because, again, we just got back this week. So
it's probably too early to tell now.
Yep, we'll give it another week or 2 of pissing on those old sticks.
Hopefully I don't knowingly know I'm pregnant.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you're drinking, but I'm sure you'll be drinking throughout the whole pregnancy.
No, I won't. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I wouldn't do that to our child.
Right. Okay, anyways, I'm sure you've read studies where it's like, like 3 glasses of red wine a night won't do anything to the baby while I'm pregnant.
No, maybe in the 3rd trimester, that's a different story. Occasionally, definitely it's fairly crucial in the 1st trimester, so as soon as you know.
I'm sure you'll say a new study came out where they're like, no, a bottle a night is supposed to be great for the baby. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see about that.
For the record, I had a negative test yesterday, so...
Yeah, so it's still early, though.
Early.
I don't know how that stuff really works.
I have no idea when I was ovulating.
You definitely could be pregnant.
Cycle's been all fucked up.
Mm-hmm. So. Did we talk about that last time?
We
Your
did,
fucked
briefly.
Up cycle? Yeah, I know that was very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, where was your favorite place that we went? I mean, it's really hard to say. People, since we got back, everybody's asking us, hey, where was your favorite place? Where was your favorite place?
Yeah,
a lot of them are so different.
It's so different. They all have their own vibes and just like their own, I don't know, like, so I wanted to like Slovakia, but obviously they were under a lockdown, so like maybe we'll try that place again another time. But Helsinki surprised me at how much I liked it. Budapest was so busy though, but due to the history of those buildings and like Budapest and Prague, I really liked Warsaw. That one surprised me.
Definitely.
Too. I mean, Warsaw was pretty cool.
Warsaw was dope. Yeah, Warsaw was definitely dope.
Hamburg, we had a different type of experience in that city, so it's kind of harder to say.
Yeah, we met up with my buddy from high school that I played basketball with, who's been living in Germany for like 4 years now with his girlfriend. And he kind of showed us a different side of it. But I would say Hamburg was the least like old timey.
Yeah.
It was much more, new buildings, modern style stuff, which, was cool. I definitely like to see it in the summertime because Buddy Freddie said it's really popping off there. But
gosh,
excuse me, just burped.
It's just so hard to pick. I think like, oh gosh, I don't know. Budapest, I don't know.
Where could you see yourself most likely living with kids? Because, that was a big reason why we decided, not why we decided to go over there, but we've potentially been looking at places where we would want to move overseas with kids when they're young so they can learn a second language, so they can get kind of immersed in a different culture. And we figured, hey, these are some places that we've never been. Let's check them out and see how highly they rank on our potential places to move in the future.
Yeah, as far as like maybe potential cost of living, I would, and just kind of overall vibes, I would say Poland, Germany, and which one is less expensive, Prague or Budapest? They all kind of
They were pretty
comparable to each other.
Yeah, pretty comparable. I think they were like as expensive as stuff was here,
Yeah.
which we were expecting some places to be a bit cheaper. The cheapest place was for sure Warsaw, Poland.
Yeah, dude. That was like surprising how cheap it was.
Yeah, so that was really cool. But yeah, God, I don't know. I would say maybe Budapest could be a potential landing spot. I could see us landing though in Poland.
Yeah.
I still really want to check out Krakow.
Yeah.
But
I've heard great things about that city too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We got to go back in the summer and
Definitely go back in the summer. Complete different vibes.
Yeah, for sure. Christmas markets were awesome.
Yeah, Christmas markets were lit. If you're into Christmas, man, if you like Christmas here, go to Christmas over there. Because they shit on what we're doing here. It's like, you're like, oh, Americans actually don't give a fuck about Christmas. Those people got lights on every building, trees everywhere. You're like, oh, it's definitely Christmas right now. Over here, we get back and we're like,
we were on our Uber home at like 3 a.m. and we're just like, there's no lights anywhere.
Nobody has lights. Like, I mean, barely anybody. Okay, so funny story. When we got back from our honeymoon, we hopped in the Uber. So we originally drove to her brother's house, who lives about 40 minutes south of us in Oregon City. And we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get an Uber. So we left her car at her brother's house. And he was either going to take us in the morning or we were going to be able to get an Uber because we had a super early flight.
Yeah, and they're just hard to find.
Yeah, we've had issues getting them from where we live currently.
It was like 4 a.m. I was like,
So we got an Uber. And we left her car there with her keys and everything. So on our way back, we get in at like 2 p.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m., sorry. And we were already late. We were supposed to be here at like 11 a.m.
11
p.m. Fucking hell, I don't know what I'm talking about. So we get in super late. We get the Uber back to the house. It's raining, of course. What's up, Washington? And, I mean, kind of actually pouring.
Yeah.
And we get here. They drop us off. We come into the garage, open the garage door, like the actual garage door. We get to the garage door that leads into the house. I go to open it and it's locked. And I'm like,
shout out us having secure homes.
I'm like, shit. I'm pretty sure I'm the one that locked this before we left, just because I wanted to be super safe. So we're like, hey, what are the chances that we didn't lock the back window? So let's go around to the back and try to break into our own house at 2 a.m. in the morning. So we go around the back. The window is not open. And so we're in the garage like, hey, what the hell are we supposed to do? Our spare key, which, you know, you use to get into the house when you don't have your keys, is in the house, which is a great place to have your spare because that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we end up hitting up our good friends Josh and Amber, who are a couple hoodlums, and we assumed they would be up at that point in time.
Because we got home on a Friday night.
Yeah, 2:30 at night. And they were. They had been up drinking, so we went and spent the night at their house.
We Ubered to their house.
Yep, Ubered to their house. Waited about an hour and a half to get some Jack in the Box because we hadn't eaten in like
12
hours.
We're like, so we had been up for 30 hours at that point. We're hungry. We're so exhausted. And we get to their house at like 3:20 in the morning. And they're like, oh, well, we're going to order some Jack in the Box, but it'll be like an hour. And we're like, fuck it.
Fuck it.
So by the time we went to sleep, it was like 4:30. I'm like texting my brother and his sister-in-law.
That Jack in the Box was bullshit.
Yeah, oh my god, they fucked up all of our orders and it was so expensive. As it should be at 3 a.m. Like, I don't know what I expected. That I was like texting my brother and my sister-in-law like, hey, we can't get in the house. One of you are going to have to come get us. Like, you guys have our keys. And they're watching Nina anyways, our dog. So And we had spent $80 in Ubers.
Oh my God,
just
Ubers
from the airport to our house, and then from our house to Josh and Amber's. It was $80. I'm like, I'm not Ubering 40 minutes. That would probably be $100.
Yeah.
So I set an alarm at 8. So we slept from 4:30 to 8. My brother came, got us. We came back in the house at like 11 in the morning, and we were just pooped. We were so exhausted.
Yeah, that was a tough day for sure. It was really demoralizing when we got here and the door wasn't open. I was just like, oh, I wanted to be so mad at you, but I knew I was the one that locked the door. I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything about this. God damn it. So that, yeah, what a great way to come back. I mean, your flight get delayed for hours. We get here, we can't get into our house. We have to go sleep somewhere.
Right.
Like, it was just compounding. So, what if we had kids with that? Like,
oh my God, it would have been the end
that
of the
would have
world.
been fucking horrible.
Shout out to kids.
Yeah, can't wait to have those guys. Fuck them kids. Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into talking about more about kids and family and
what's this podcast all about?
yeah, let's talk about coming.
Well,
let's talk about pre-cum to be
Pre-cum.
more specific.
All
So,
right, we're gonna dive into this.
what do you know about pre-cum?
Well, so I pulled up a couple articles here so I can be a little informational. So,
All right.
according to the CDC, the actual chance of conceiving from pre-cum is 22%. So, if you're using the pull-out method, you got 22%.
Bro,
So
the pull-out game flimsy. People are not great at pulling out.
no. Well, so the funny thing is that pre-cum comes out before the man starts to feel anything. So
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to pull it out, like, literally in the middle.
You put it in and you're like, I'll come in 5 minutes, pull out at 2 minutes. Cause...
Exactly. But the pre-cum fluid itself doesn't contain any sperm. It's actually the leftover sperm that's in...
The old nut?
The old nut is what contains the sperm. Pre-cum itself, the fluid that comes out doesn't actually contain any semen. It's just what's left over from the previous ejaculation. That's what gets you pregnant. So, like, normal semen contains 40 million sperm, and then pre-cum has anywhere between 0 and 5 million. So,
damn,
the fluid itself doesn't have a whole lot, but if you're ovulating, you most certainly can get pregnant from pre-cum.
Nice. So, if you're fucking dudes out there that you don't want to have babies with, maybe don't let them talk you into doing it raw. Because they're like, hey, I'll just pull out. It's no problem.
You got 22%.
Yeah, 22% chance that you're going to get pregnant. We know some people that, that's happened to.
Yep.
I'm sure you know some people that's happened to.
For sure.
Well, I looked up some stuff also, and according to Planned Parenthood, because everybody loves information from Planned Parenthood, the chances of getting pregnant from pre-cum are pretty low, like you said. But they said it is possible. The way they word this is really funny, so I'm going to read exactly what they say, because they're so just like to the point with their words. They're like, pre-cum, also known as pre-ejaculation, is a small amount of fluid that comes out of your penis when you're turned on. But before you ejaculate, cum, in quotes, oozing pre-cum is involuntary. You can't control when it comes out. Pre-cum doesn't usually have any sperm in it, but some people may have small amounts of sperm in their pre-cum, which would be that leftover cum we spoke about. If there is sperm in someone's pre-cum and that pre-cum gets into your vagina, it could possibly fertilize an egg and lead to pregnancy, much like we discussed. Okay, so there's no way to know when there is or isn't sperm in pre-cum. That's one reason why the withdrawal method, they call pulling out, they put pulling out in quotes. The withdrawal method, I just withdrew my penis from your vagina, isn't the best at preventing pregnancy, even if they pull out before ejaculating, in quotes, coming. If you want to prevent pregnancy, put on a condom before your penis and vagina touch. Now, I don't know about that. I think you could still rub the penis on the outside of the vagina and just don't rub the head on there, because there could be some pre-cum on there. Even better, use both condoms and another kind of birth control together.
Damn, they said double up.
Yeah, I thought they were going to say use double condoms, which I've heard is not a great idea.
That sounds so uncomfortable.
So, yeah, I mean, the myth about being able to get pregnant off pre-cum, not being able to get pregnant off pre-cum, you know.
It definitely can.
Yeah, for certain, we're making this fact. It's possible.
Yeah, I know.
So,
some people.
Yeah. Wrap it up. Or don't wrap it up. Get on the pill. Or don't get on the pill. Just bust nuts, you know, and take chances. I know some people that have taken many chances and not gotten pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Facts.
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 Now we were going to talk about positions that may or may not help you get pregnant, and whether they're, you know, myths or not myths.
Okay.
Do you have any preconceived notions about certain positions and them being better at getting you pregnant than others? You burping on our show?
I am.
Jesus, disrespectful.
Burping all yesterday and today.
Pull that gas.
More so, I mean, I have some like old wives' tales about like if you want a boy or a
Is
girl.
it old wives' tales or old wise tales?
I think it's wives. I don't know.
That fucking blew my mind. I always thought it was old wise tales.
I think it's old wives, like old hag.
That makes way more sense. I guess you could just look that information up. I would have put my left nut that it was old wise tales.
Oh, old wives.
Old wives. You heard it here first. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people never knew that. Or maybe I'm the only fucking idiot out here that thought it was old wise tales. These are old tales that are very wise.
That are from the wives.
That are from the wives.
The wifes.
Wives, yeah. Wifes. Microwave.
Microwave.
Fancy ass way to say microwave. Okay, so carry on. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, you're fine. Just like I mean, some things say like let gravity help you. So like if the woman's on top, maybe your chances are a little less.
Yeah, because what goes up must come down. I mean, that's kind of the laws of gravity.
If you wanted
bro
to
science.
I think I heard somewhere semen comes out at like 30 miles an hour or something.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I feel like
I know I've shot loads pretty quickly. I mean, both in the amount of time from which I enter into the force it comes out with. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm shooting fastballs out of there.
Yeah. But so they say, obviously, if the cervix is pointed up, so that way the semen can kind of like go down into it as like gravity speaks. There's some old wives' tales about if you want to try and choose your gender, even though there's no scientific things to back that up. So, have you heard anything?
Well, let's go with I looked some information up about old myths on the sex positions, and here's the top 4 sex position myths if you're trying to, you know, get a baby inside you. So, myth number 1 is missionary is the only position to use. Now, I don't know who came up with that. Probably the Mormons or something, because I'm pretty sure that's where missionary comes from. Or they do the hole in the back of the nightgown and let it soak. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, we can just nip that one right in the butt, that missionary is not the only position that will allow you to get pregnant, because a lot of people are fucking all kinds of ways. Different ways.
Yeah.
So, definitely myth. Myth number 2, you definitely shouldn't be on top. Now, this kind of speaks to your law of gravity. You shoot to come up, the cum is going to want to come down. Laying on your back, or, you know, kind of rolling and having your knees go to your chest, whatever the case may be. Apparently that's not a real thing. maybe because we're shooting in India at 30 miles an hour, there's no chance that it's coming back
It's
out.
like, where am I going to go? I can't go to the side. I got to go just straight up.
Going right into that cervix. Myth number 3, use the position where you're most likely to have an orgasm. Now, if you had to have an orgasm to get pregnant, there'd be a lot less babies in the world.
It sure would be.
Oh, my back. Do it doggy style to conceive a boy. Now, I don't know if that's just men being like, hey, should definitely put out there in the world that if we get the fuck from behind, we're making a boy.
I actually read that too.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on that?
So the thought behind that is they say that the male sperm travels faster,
Mm-hmm.
and the girl sperm travels slower. So, like, if you want a boy, put it as close to the uterus as possible, so that way they can just shoot and go in and latch onto the egg or get in the egg or whatever, fertilize the egg. So the myths are, if you want a boy, have it as close to ovulation as possible and as deep as possible. So that would be doggy style, or the girl on her back with the legs, with the knees up towards the chest, because that's where you can get deep. If you want a girl, they say to have sex like a couple days before ovulation, and that way the boy sperm will die off before ovulation, and the girl sperm is slow and steady, wins the race. So they will get there, but you want to put them lower in the vagina, so that way by the time that they get to the egg on ovulation, then you'll have a girl.
Interesting. We should talk to our multiple friends about this back in Arizona who...
Like, all of them had fucking kids at the same time?
Yeah, all had kids and all had girls.
Yeah, that's true. They did all have girls.
So we should ask him, how were you fucking?
Yeah.
Apparently you weren't putting deep enough or hitting it from doggy style, because this is what creates boys. Unfortunately, that is a myth. If it was that easy, that would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, if you could just, like, control... Yeah, let's just say there's no real scientific evidence to back this up. These are just old wives' tales about let's have a game along with trying to create a baby. So
yeah, so I think we're still at the point. Actually, if you do, what's it called, where you get inseminated by them, like putting the sperm into your eggs or whatever, if they're doing it.
Yeah, intrauterine. Okay, so there's two different kinds. There's intrauterine insemination, and there's IVF.
Okay. Now they can mess with that and pick kind of boy or girl, right? They have the ability.
So they do have the ability. I know for IVF, I don't know a whole lot about the IUI, but the IVF, you have an option that you can double check the chromosomes, one, to make sure that the baby is healthy. Like check for Downs or like other type of chromosome related, defects. But you can also know the gender by doing that. I think it's extra to do that though.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get to the point soon where they're like, "Yo, make that motherfucker 6'5", and I want him to have a fat ass and definitely not flat feet. Good sized calves.
Both have super flat feet.
Flat ass feet.
I will say though, so this British medical journal study reported that 27% of women who remained lying down after intrauterine insemination became pregnant, compared to the 17% who got up immediately after. So, like, if you're immediately getting up to go pee after sex, I guess, according to this journal, you have a less chance. So you need to let it sit there and marinate. So some things, whether it helps or not, suggest having your legs up so that way your pelvis is, gravity, like we said, for up to 10 to 15 minutes after sex, which I feel is a complete unreasonable amount of time.
It's a very long time.
Yeah, that's so long. But
Seeing as Uber
if
Facts
you're,
just told me that the average shower time is 8 minutes,
I know,
I
dude.
couldn't imagine laying on my back for 10 to 15
That's
minutes
so
with a huge load in me, just waiting,
yeah, like.
just waiting.
But you know, if you're having problems conceiving, it might be worth a shot. It's not
Definitely
the end
worth
of the
trying.
world.
Yep.
Not the end of the world. So
Nice. Well, we basically tried all of that over our trip. So chances are that we have a baby are hopefully good, and
hopefully.
no idea what the gender will be. We did both deep and shallow. So
on top and on bottom.
yes, from behind and from the front, whatever that means, standing and laying. Yeah.
Did it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, well,
after all this talk about
you want to go do it?
sex, no, definitely, that's what I was hinting at. But before we do it, let's talk about why we enjoy doing it, and that would be because we learned early on, and why we think our relationship is so strong. We learned early on about our love languages.
Yes. I remember this day that you first asked me what my love languages were.
What a question for a male, me, to ask a female. That's how you sink the ladies.
Yep.
Gentlemen, look at me.
Dude, that's what got me. I was like, oh, he's thoughtful as fuck.
What is your love language, man? And she'd be like, I don't know what
it's
you're
you.
talking
You're
about.
my love language. Take me now.
I don't know what you're talking about. So if you learn this information and you bring this up, it's a great way to bag the chicks.
Rope them in.
Now, I wouldn't advise using this to just bag a bunch of chicks and fuck them.
No.
Because that's kind of
it'll work, but you'll be a dick.
Yeah. So, let's talk about, had you heard anything about the love languages before I had mentioned this to you?
Yes. So actually, my brother and his wife, my oldest brother and his wife, had brought this up to me. Oh, years ago. They were talking about their love languages because at the time theirs was the same, and that's why they did so well for so long. But it is also.
Do you remember what their number one love language was?
I think it was acts of service.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think words of affirmation, acts of service. They're neither of them are real touchy people.
Okay,
so
we'll go over all of them.
Yeah, but so I had read the book years ago, like I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's just called The 5 Love Languages, or something like that. Pretty short read.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different kinds. There's like relationships, there's coworkers, there's friendships. So obviously what you expect from your lover is not going to be the same thing you expect from your colleagues or your friends.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I would highly suggest reading this book just because it's so informational. Now, you would think like, oh, I love this person. We get along really well. That's great. But you may not speak the same love languages, which is a big deal because you need to know how to communicate with your partner through, actions and just other ways besides like you need to know what speaks to them.
What, quote, fills their love tank.
Yeah. So you can find a test if you don't want to read the book and just be an asshole. No, I'm just kidding. Read the book, but it'll definitely help you out. But you can find a test to find out what your love language is, and then you could communicate with your partner if you have a partner, or before you get a partner, you'll know what they are, and you can relay that information to them at said time. But I think the most important thing is realizing your love languages don't have to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to realize what the other person's is, so you can make sure to focus on doing those things that speak to them, and communicating with them what yours are, so they can do the things that move you and make you happy, make you feel appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is a lot of people love to express love in the way that they like to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, that's not always the case on how you can nurture your relationship.
That's usually where people go wrong. They're thinking, "Oh, this is what makes me feel good."
Yes.
Like, why are we having issues at this point? Because I love spending time with you. Quality time is my number one love language, and yet it doesn't seem to be working out for you. Maybe that's because your love language, your number one thing is not quality time. It could be something else. So
do you remember what yours were when we first started dating?
when we first started dating, I believe my top one was physical touch, which I explained to you because we just recently retested again, and they will change over time as your relationship goes on, because you become more comfortable with things. You realize, what things you put more, value into, and just what's more important to you.
Yeah, the things that make you feel secure in the beginning aren't the same things that make you feel secure after you have a couple years into it.
Definitely. So mine was physical touch at the beginning because I felt like I constantly needed you to show me, like, hey, I care about you. This is how I'm going to show you I care about you, and I'll do it in public. I'll do it in private. Just the actual touch made me feel very secure.
Yeah, same.
And it let me know in my head that, hey, I know that she is really into me because she's constantly touching me, which now that we're married and we've been in a relationship for over 3 years, obviously I know you're fucking into me. Like, I don't need to be like
me.
well, she's not touching me today, so I don't know, maybe she doesn't like me anymore. That's not the case. So, mine have changed. And now there's, like we said, 5 of them. My number one is quality time. I still really appreciate spending time with you, even if we're not touching or anything. Just being in the same general vicinity as you kind of refills my energy and everything. My number 2 is words of affirmation. Now, when you're telling me I did, really good at something, or that really helped you out, or whatever, whatever the words of affirmation may be, how much you love me, that really holds value.
Fills his love tank.
Yes, with me. The number 3 would be acts of service. When you do things for me, when you go to the grocery store, when I'm at work, when you make dinner, when you clean the house, all the different things you do, when you do the laundry. I do things too, but
he actually cooks maybe more than I do.
we enjoy cooking together. But those things, again, really show me that, hey, I appreciate you. I'm often at work the majority of the day. You work from home. I'm like, okay, I appreciate you taking the time to do these things, knowing that I may be slightly more tired than you are.
You're way more physical job than.
My number 4 thing is physical touch. So it moved from number 1 to number 4, again, because I became more comfortable with our relationship. And I'm just at the point where I'm like, I don't need you constantly touching me, even though she still does very frequently. I don't need you constantly touching me to reinforce, my feeling of, oh my God, does she still love me? Like, she's not touching me. No, I feel comfortable knowing now that I've locked her down and
put a ring on it.
Yep, put a ring on it, that the physical touch can fall back a bit and the other ones can come forward. And then my last one, they break these down into percentages as you take the test. They let you know, hey, this is like 40%, this is, 25%. My last one was receiving gifts. Now that came in at 0%. I don't exactly, getting gifts is cool. Who doesn't like getting gifts? But getting gifts is not something that's like, oh, this person loves me, they got me gifts.
Yeah.
Which, is not a huge deal for me. Now, I love giving gifts, and I feel like I, do that quite frequently. That's a way that I like to express love.
Yeah, for sure.
But receiving it is not a huge deal for me. Now, I have yours broken down if you want to.
Oh, okay. I was trying to find the percentages. I was like, here we go. I got it.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead, go over yours.
Yeah, so in the beginning of our relationship, my top ones were physical touch and quality time. Gifts has always been last for me. I've dated someone where gifts was their number 1, and we just clashed constantly because I was like, he felt I was unappreciative, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about the gifts, bro. Like,
yeah, and that's something that commonly happens when receiving gifts is one of your top things, because it's not like
I don't appreciate them, but that I'm like,
yeah, it's not like a shallow thing either. That's just, again, all of these things. That's just your love language.
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong. Like, everyone is different. It really helps to make yourself aware of what makes you happy, and to just be aware of the fact that what makes someone else happy isn't always going to be the same level of yours. So
And communicate that to them.
Exactly.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So when we retook ours, mine changed quite a bit.
Yes.
My acts of service went up to 30%. And it's like, you take out the trash, like you do all of these things. So I'm like, oh shit, you don't have to do that, you know. You put the dishes away, like all these types of things.
I know you hate putting the dishes away in the morning that are in the drying rack. So
I hate it. And then my second one is words of affirmation at 27%.
Okay, so very close second.
Yeah, which that obviously went from number 3, I think. I mean, it had to be 3 or 4 previously. So physical touch is 20%, tied with quality time at 20%, and gifts was 3%, just because you always would bring me like Kit Kats and stuff, and I was like, that is such a thoughtful gesture. Like, you thought about me to bring me my favorite candy.
At my job, they would always set out, when I was working for FedEx, they would always have like, you know, sandwiches and then a bunch of soda for people to take for lunch, and then candy.
Coke. I'm like,
yeah, I'm always just like, all right, I'll bring you a Diet Coke. I know you like Diet Coke.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I was like, oh,
little things.
That's cute. But yeah, so ours, obviously, our love languages change over time.
And they're not the same.
They're not the same, but they seem to still have changed together.
Yeah.
Like, they're both acts of service, words of affirmation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, quality time, stuff like that. I think that's why we still get along just as good as we did in the beginning.
I agree. And again, it's the communication and understanding what your partner's, you know, top 2, top 3 love language is, and speaking that to them, and, you know, having them speak yours to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like, speaking of like acts of service, it made me think of something that one of our friends in Arizona said. I asked her, they have a couple-month-old baby now, and I asked her, like, how has your relationship changed since having the baby? And she made the comment of, it's really hard to not be selfish during this stage of like, well, I was up all night, or I did this, so you need to do this for me. And she's like, but you still have to think of, like, okay, well, I still have to do things for the other person too. Like, they also did XYZ with the baby. Like, you can't be like, I did this, so you have to do this for me. And I think that is a pretty big thing with acts of service, because, like, I'm probably going to expect, I mean, honestly, I'm probably going to be like,
I guarantee
I
acts of service will become, I mean, it's already number 1 for you, but I guarantee acts of service will probably be number 1 for both of us, just because anytime anybody's willing to do something to help you out in regards to the baby,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much for getting up this time and checking on the baby, or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So we'll retake the test again once we actually have a kid, and be like, hey, you know, this is how they've changed. We'll retouch on this. But yeah, that's super important, I think. So again, try this out. Just go to www.5lovelanguages.com and go through the website, find the quiz, take the quiz. It doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
And it'll help you understand yourself better. And if you have a partner, have them take it, and then you guys can discuss it and have a better relationship.
Yeah.
It definitely will help. I suggest everybody do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's next?
Is it the best states to give birth in?
Yes, best states to have a baby in.
Pop one out at.
Now, it's very interesting because we live in a state that's, you know.
Now we do.
Yeah, we live in a state now that is one of the better places to live when having a baby.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we live right next to a state that is not a good place to have a baby, apparently, which
not
we
yet.
found out. Yeah.
It's working on it.
A lot of people are changing their rules because, I mean, it should be even across the board. But I know you did a bunch of, you know, research on this and found out good places versus not good places versus how we rate as a country versus other countries. I mean, we talked to some people when we were in other countries about potentially having babies and, you know, just how they kind of take care of you over there. versus how they take care of you here. So the floor is yours.
Oh goodness. All right. So, what is there? Like 213 countries in the world or something like that.
I believe that's
yeah.
right.
212, 213. So 180 nations have paid sick leave. Some of them have up to a year. What was it? Japan and
Norway.
They give you up to a year of paid.
A year.
A year. Holy shit. So there's 11 countries in the world that don't have paid sick leave, and the U.S. is one of them. And I think that's fucking
Paid
mind
sick
blowing.
leave?
Or like FMLA.
Okay.
Family Medical Leave Act or whatever. So
Gotcha.
paid. So there's paid and unpaid.
And you mean across the board? Like, because are there states that do it?
Yeah, so there's 9 states that have it or that are in the works of having it.
9 states?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, we have 50 states in the country. 9 states have this?
Yeah, so...
Holy shit.
California, they give you 8 weeks. And then the rest of these are 12 weeks. Connecticut, Washington, D.C., Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Washington State, ta-da, where we live. Oregon, which is 15 minutes away, they actually don't even have paid medical leave yet. They won't have it until September 2023, which I think is outrageous.
Which is insane. We have family that live over in Oregon. Your brother and
his
sister-in-law, and his former wife, they have kids, and they've lived in Oregon for a long time. Like, right across the river, they're like, fuck you. Like, oh, you're going to have a kid?
You better save up your sick time.
I hope you have been working for 12 years and never used a sick day. Yeah. Like, what? That blows my mind.
It's so sad. And then Colorado isn't going to have theirs until 2024.
Damn. That's wild to me that just like, they're like, hey, you have a baby and then good luck.
It's so sad. And like my friend that just had a baby in Tennessee, I think she had 2 weeks. It's like,
2 weeks?
If you have a C-section, you can barely even like get around at 2 weeks. I don't understand.
What can you even do in 2 weeks' time? Like,
sleep 3 hours? I don't know.
That's mind-boggling. You're at like the newest part of being a parent. You still have no idea what you're doing. You're probably fucking exhausted. You're barely recovered from even having a baby, like you said, if you had a C-section.
Yeah. So,
hey, move to Washington or one of those other
states.
What were the states again? I want to see if there's a trend in whether they're like Democratic or Republican or anything like that.
California.
Okay, Democratic.
Connecticut.
Not sure.
D.C.
I think Democratic.
Hawaii.
Democratic, I believe.
Massachusetts.
Not sure.
Jersey.
Not sure.
New York.
Democratic.
Rhode Island.
Not sure.
And Washington.
Democratic.
And then soon Oregon and Colorado.
Both Democratic.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But so that's just based off of the paid medical leave. If you take into a whole bunch of other factors, such as like medical costs, early child care, healthcare premiums, babysitting, and then other expenses like the availability of medical professionals, fertility clinics, stuff like that. This kind of changes the ranking. So if you take all of those things into consideration, the best states to have a baby are Massachusetts, Minnesota, D.C., New Hampshire, Vermont, North Dakota, Connecticut, Washington, New York, and Hawaii, which also I think all of them have the 12 weeks, except California. No, California's not even on here.
Well,
the worst places to have a baby.
Worst places to have a baby. Can you guess? Send in your answers right now. Worst place to have a baby. I'm going to guess, like right off the top of my head, maybe like Texas, Kansas. I don't know. Go ahead.
All right. So worst, from the worst to slightly less worse. Mississippi,
number 1.
Alabama,
Could have guessed I should have just said the South. I didn't want to be racist.
South Carolina, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Nevada.
Wow. They're like, we get rid of those babies here. This is Sin City.
And then Oklahoma, West Virginia, Georgia, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, so Mississippi has the highest infant mortality rate, and Vermont has the lowest infant mortality rate. But anyways,
Mississippi has the highest infant mortality rate.
that's what New York Times says.
That's crazy.
This year, from September 30th, 2021.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, this is stuff you want to take into consideration because having a baby is expensive, especially in the U.S.
We just had to, like, look at our health care that's coming up in a week and be like, all right, what is the better?
What's going to be best for this year because we're having a baby this year? It's crazy because if you live in other countries, it's basically free to have a baby in so many different countries.
Yeah.
And they give you, on average, like 6 months off.
Which is crazy.
Like, again, we get 12 weeks,
which we're super lucky.
Yeah, that's crazy. At probably like, I don't know, 60% pay or something like that.
I think something like that.
When, again, right over the river, they're like, you get no time with zero pay. And it's wild to think about. But definitely something to consider when making a child.
Which is crazy because I get 4 to 5 weeks of PTO. So if I just hiked that on top of my
I'll see you guys next year. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. But lucky us, we live in a state that is doing the right thing.
Yeah, for real.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Speaking about parenting and doing it overseas. Let's touch base on our, let's get an update on our...
Oh, yeah, the frozen babies.
Yeah, frozen babies. So we talked about last podcast how, what was it, Finland? Yeah,
I think
Finland.
it was. We
Finland,
kept an eye out, but I didn't see any.
Finland, people would leave their babies outside when they went in to have a drink or go grocery shopping or do different things.
We did see stroller parking everywhere.
Yeah, so we didn't see any babies. We didn't see any babies in strollers outside, but we did see tons of places to park your strollers.
Yeah, like everywhere was stroller parking here.
Yeah. Which, blew our mind. I was definitely on the lookout for babies outside randomly, and it was cold as shit when we were there.
God, yeah.
But again, the reason they did that was to increase their immune systems. Strengthen their immune systems, and all the kids we saw were wrapped up like
oh my God,
the kids in A Christmas Story.
Yes,
barely even move.
Yeah, snowsuits galore.
Michelin men looking babies. So that was awesome. But yeah, we saw a ton of kids, and they were all wrapped up. And unfortunately, we didn't see any kids left outside. Unfortunately, I didn't see any kids left outside. Yeah. But this week's is also about the northern countries. Actually, we're going to talk about Finland again. Maybe that was I think it was actually a couple countries where they did that.
Oh yeah, Norway, probably. I don't know.
But this one is about Finland. If we spoke about Finland last week, awesome. But this week is about Finland, and kids in Finland get frequent breaks from school. So, in Finland, elementary grade kids take 15-minute breaks every 45 minutes. With more frequent breaks to move around and play, Finnish kids are thought to be able to keep better focus on their work. With one of the best education systems in the world, they may be onto something.
Oh, damn.
Which, if you extrapolate that into being a grown-up and working, I think that's a great idea. Every 3 hours, you get like a 30, 40-minute break, maybe every 2 hours, just to allow yourself to decompress.
You're saying that's what we should do?
I think that would be a good idea.
Oh, yeah, instead of every 9 hours, you get 30 minutes
and
then a 15-minute break or whatever.
Yeah.
I need more than that, dude.
Again, as kids, you're like, hey, my attention span isn't, that great anyways. Yeah. We're going to give you 15 minutes every 45 minutes. Those people over there are really smart. Not only are they attractive, but they're smart. Not only are they tall as shit,
They're so tall.
but they're smart. Maybe that helps with the growing. They're less stressed. Their bones grow more.
Maybe. That's funny.
But yeah, so that's our overseas parenting fact of the week. We'll have a new one for you next week. And maybe I'll make it not about somewhere up there. Maybe I'll make it something horrible. Who knows? All right, we're going to get right into something you know quite a bit about and something I could give two shits about.
Astrology.
Astrology.
Okay.
Speaking of stars, go ahead and give this podcast. Sorry.
May they align in your favor today.
Yes.
Hey, babe, what's your sign?
I do know that. I am a Pisces.
Yes.
That's a fishy sign.
Yes.
And what's your sign?
I am a Virgo.
Virgo.
Heyo.
Awesome.
Your mom is also a Virgo, and we are like this, son.
That's
we are
not surprising to me because you guys are, like we spoke about in the first episode, very similar. You guys could be same person almost. So
I love her.
If you're into astrology, listen closely. If you're not, I'm sorry.
Well, so part of the timeline, I guess I will say, of like trying to think about when to get off birth control. Obviously, I was on the non-hormonal, so I could get pregnant at any time. So I didn't have to do like too much planning. But I was like, okay, if I get off the pill now, we could maybe make it to another Virgo baby, because I think I'm pretty cool. So why not have more of me?
Good point. I like you. I'd be more inclined to have something like you than something like me.
Oh,
I don't know. You
all
as a
the
kid,
men
you're
in
kind
my
of a piece
family
of
are
shit.
Pisces.
True.
And I obviously love all of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
They're all so different too. It's weird.
Yeah. Probably because that shit's not real. I don't know. Maybe.
Hey. So in thinking about like, at the honeymoon, if we get pregnant in the beginning of the honeymoon, we might have a Leo baby, and no offense to Leos, but not the best experience with them.
You're hard to work with.
Yeah, you just think
Dominant.
you're so awesome, and only I don't know.
Strong-willed.
No offense to any Leos out there. I just personally haven't had a great experience besides my aunt, but even still, she's very strong-willed, and this is how it's going to be, which is a great quality if you want to be a successful female. So.
Yeah, I can't speak to that because I don't ask people what their signs are, and I don't know like if your birthday's at this time. I'm like, oh, you're a
so and so
Scorpio.
Speaking of that, yesterday I went to the eye doctor. That was yesterday. Yeah. And the girl, the young lady that was the assistant or whatever, she was like, oh, I like your purse. And I was like, thanks, my husband got it for me for my birthday. And she's like, oh, I think I have your birthday here. August 30th, are you a Leo? And I was like, no, I'm a Virgo. And she's like, that makes sense, your energy is more Virgo. And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you didn't think I was a Leo, because I think I'm way more chill than Leos.
And to me, that means nothing.
So, like, ideally, not saying this is going to be planned, obviously we can try, but having a Virgo or a Libra baby would probably be ideal for me. I don't know that much about Scorpio and Sagittarius.
If you're a Scorpio or Sagittarius, write in and let us know your best and worst qualities.
Yeah. I did date a Sagittarius one time. I know he listens to our podcast, so I won't say anything negative. But obviously, we didn't work out.
Obviously, you know who you are.
But we didn't work out, so obviously.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm married to you, the Pisces. And that was also like 10 years ago, though, so whatever.
We were 11. That's right. Now you're like 40, so you're 30.
I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, anyway, so, and then I was like, okay, well, if we get pregnant maybe later on, like in March when we're in Europe again, then we would probably have maybe a Capricorn, which is what Balin is, and I think she's pretty awesome.
Balin is pretty cool, which would be her niece.
Yeah, that's my niece.
Her brother's daughter, obviously. You guys know how that works.
I don't have any sisters, so everything's about my brothers.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was super into horoscopes when I was younger, as most females.
Yeah, most women are. You don't find many guys that are really into that unless they're feminist, and they're just using it to get
in the pants.
Get the cooch.
They're like, oh, you're a Scorpio? You're really strong and fiery.
Let me wave my hand over your pelvis and see what type of energy I'm feeling. I'm sure they're into other things too. Sounding. Wait, no, sounding is where you stick things in your penis. Never mind.
Oh, God.
They might be into that, but I don't know.
Hopefully not. But, yeah, no offense. I definitely don't want an Aries or Gemini baby or a Leo baby. And that's pretty much anything else I think I'll be able to work with. But ideally, I would like to have a Virgo or a Libra.
Yeah, if you're any of those things,
A
make
Pisces
sure to
would
leave
be
a
awesome,
comment
too.
and talk shit to Amanda about
Hey.
why you guys are actually great people. Or if you think you're a piece of shit, let us know.
I love those things on, like, the Shade Room. They're like, say some, like, crappy thing, and they're like, what's her sign? And everyone's just like, I'm, like, scrolling through the comments to see who's talking shit about Virgos.
That's funny. Yeah, so that's, again, something that I really don't know or care about. But if it's something that you're really concerned about, then, we'll shoot for
love our baby.
Those.
Regardless. But maybe if we only
I'll
have
just love
sex
you
once
more
a week instead of more than that on the times where I don't want to get pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I wouldn't withhold sex from you, but no, I don't want to jump up. No.
The chance our baby's a dick will be way higher. Okay.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, very interesting. Something I'm really concerned. It's so funny because we watch TV like most people do, but we really enjoy watching TV, spending time together, just chilling on the couch. And I love those commercials about becoming your parents.
Oh my God.
Like signs you're becoming your parents. I couldn't even tell you what the commercials are for. Is it like, is it insurance or something?
It's insurance for sure.
Is it? Either way, it's an older white guy that's like dealing with all these younger people and talking to them about becoming their parents. And it's so funny because as you get older, and I know everybody can relate to this, as you get older, you realize you're doing things that your parents always do, and you're just like...
Let's not talk about leaving the game before we actually get there.
Like one of the examples is going to a football game, and they're talking about how much parking is and how much money you can make off of parking.
Let's
and
park near the exit so we can leave.
They're like, as they're walking to the game, they're like, oh, we should definitely park, or as they're getting to the game, we should definitely park towards the back so we can be closest to the exit and we could leave the game.
Oh my God.
And when should we leave? Like the third quarter? They're like, the guy's like, let's not talk about leaving the game before we get to the game. We haven't even done this yet. Like,
oh my God.
You're talking about how candle places cover their overhead and
the storage
facility. It's just such funny shit. So are there things that you see about yourself that you're becoming like your parents, where you're just like, wow, that's something my parents would definitely do?
Definitely see, like, I hear myself saying things in the same term or like the same way as my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like calling Nina like my pumpkin or something like that, or just like stupid things that like she used to say when I was a child, and then now I'm saying them. I'm just like, oh fuck, I sound just like my mom.
Oh my gosh, my mom used to. We couldn't get out a sentence without her taking like the last word and singing a song about it. She's like, I know a song that has that word in it, and she would just sing a song. And now I do that all the time. You'll say something, and I'll just be like, oh, I got a song for that.
Yeah. Are you singing this song, you weirdo?
There's just so many little things that you do, like your parents. I'm sure, like cleaning habits, or one of mine that I got from my dad is definitely not being late to things.
Oh, yeah. You're like,
it like
so
stresses me out like crazy, being late to shit. I'm just like, hey, we gotta be on time. And he was really big on that. And just different things, like the way I say things reminds me of my dad. It's crazy how you just become your parents. I wonder if that happens if you don't like your parents.
I don't know. If anyone doesn't like their parents, tell me. Are you becoming just like them?
Let us know.
I'm trying to think if I do anything else that reminds me
I'm sure there's tons of stuff.
of my parents. Oh, like slamming car doors. My dad always would be like, "Don't slam the door," and now like even sometimes like if you open it at the gym and you close it too hard, I'm like, "Don't fucking slam the door!" Like
And I'm just like
I
shutting the
know,
door.
and I'm just like, yeah. Just like silly things like that. I see a lot of things like my stepdad, like his habits.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but like throughout my adulthood, I'm just like, oh, he definitely does that, or like,
Yeah.
I'm not as worried about like leaving fans on in the room. Like, of
Not
course,
yet.
all dads are like,
Not
that's
yet.
2 cents a year. You better turn that fan off when you're not in the
Wait
room.
till we fucking get kids. You'll be like, why is that light on?
Probably.
You're not even in that room.
Probably.
Oh.
I think it's really funny though. Like, I definitely there's things that I am just like my mom, and then obviously there's things where we have our own individual, thoughts and
Yeah, I would hope so.
yeah, obviously, just like our views on things. But like a lot of things, even now that I'm older, like the thought of riding a motorcycle now, I'm like, that's so fucking dangerous.
That's so, yeah, right?
And I used to go 110 on the freeway. Like,
it's so funny. Like, as you get older, you realize how dangerous things are that people do, or just how annoying things are. Or we constantly talk about how lame things are now and how much cooler they were back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, music now fucking sucks. Music back when we grew up was fucking awesome.
Cue every adult ever.
Yeah, TV. Wow, TV these days is bullshit. TV back then, like the shows that you watched as a kid and shows that they play as kids now, you're just like, what kind of dog shit is this? These shows.
No wonder everyone's fucking weird.
Yeah. It's just, which again, like you said, I'm sure every grown up thinks those things through their years where they're like, cell phones? Shit's gay. What the fuck are these cell phones? Like, we used to have to go over to your house to see if you were home, or fucking if we wanted to ask you out, we had to do it in person.
Call your
I had to call your house and talk to your dad.
Excuse me.
Landlines.
Is Amanda there? Who is this? Why do you want to talk to her? Like,
yep. God. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait to become my parents. I love my parents.
Your
They're
parents
great.
are awesome. We both had really good parents.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully that'll rub off, and we'll be really, really good parents.
We got this.
You guys will find out as we find out.
Yeah.
Last thing is, speaking about being parents and being friends and everything with our parents, finding friends as parents, really finding friends as grown-ups. But I think we've gone into a transition from being younger and being able to make friends easily because you're doing a lot of social activities and you're meeting people those ways, whether it be school. I mean, you see those people all the time, and then you kind of keep those friends as you get older. Maybe they introduce you to some new people that they meet. But if you're a grown-up, you can totally relate to having a hard time making friends. Now, the only new friends that I've made in my recent years are friends that you've made, because it's much easier to make friends as a girl. I'm laying there having somebody wax my asshole and vagina. We're going to have some cool conversations. As a guy, and girls can just be like, oh my God, like, we have so much shit in common, like 3 things. We should hang out sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you met the girl that, Amber, our good friend.
My lash lady.
Yeah, your lash lady.
And I got them done before we got engaged.
And so now I'm friends with her and her boyfriend, and we're good friends, and we've met some people through them. But as guys, it's hard because you're just like, what are you doing? Like, are you at the bar and you're having a drink and a guy orders the same beer that you're drinking, and you're like, hey man, I also like that beer. Like,
I also like that dark beer made with goat's milk.
Yeah, have a dark beer. But it's like, you want to like hang out this weekend, bro? Like, it's so awkward for men to ask other men to hang out.
They're like, hey man, you want to be friends, bro?
Yeah, be friends. Like, hey man, you want to like come over to my house? I'm not gay, dude. No, bro, I just want to like hang out, like maybe watch some football or something. Like, it's hard to make friends as a grown-up. But now we're going to transition to the stage where we can meet people without being weird, because we're going to have a kid. And if they have a kid, it's like,
if my kid likes your kid, we have to, like, I hope you're cool, because I'm going to have to hang out with you.
Guess we got to be friends now. Now, that's exactly the point. You really hope if your kid becomes friends with somebody that their parents aren't just fucking squares.
Yeah.
You're like, God, my kid always wants to go over this
Do you
kid's
want
house.
to have 3 bottles of champagne while our kids play in the living room? Like,
I mean, let's talk about it here. What are we doing? Are we taking shots while the kids are shooting hoops, or what are we doing? Are we fucking getting slammed at the soccer game? What are we doing?
Have shots. Let's play beer pong at our kid's first birthday. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I want to do.
As we feed them little oranges at the soccer game, we also have watermelon that's been soaked in vodka. Like, don't let the kids get it, but what are we talking about here? So I'm looking forward to getting into the stage of making new friends with people that have kids. Like, because we got that couple that lives down the street that has a baby, and we've been waiting to...
I'm friends with her on Instagram, but we haven't met yet, and I should probably just be like, hey, let's just, you want to come over?
But how much easier would it be if you were like, hey, I'm pregnant now. I would love to just like hang out with you and chat about being pregnant and your experience. And she makes baby clothes and stuff.
Yeah, and she's our age.
Yeah, they're our age. She lived in Arizona. Like,
it's a perfect setup. I don't know why I haven't just done it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but what if I don't like her and then she lives right next, like a couple houses down? Then it's...
She's concerned if she doesn't like the girl.
I'm sure we'll get along just great.
Great. Now we're going to have to move.
Said something awkward and now I can't sleep. No.
Yeah. Parenting. Man, parenting.
Yeah. It should be. I mean, obviously, like, COVID times, it's just, like, you don't know how some people feel about it, and it's, like, I feel like we could have made more friends being up here so far, but then it's, like...
It's definitely been weird. People don't want to get close to you.
And then it's, like, the only place we really go is a gym. Like, definitely don't want to talk to, like, people at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean...
Even though I did make a friend at the gym.
Yeah, he did because of my shirt.
Yep, because he was a Cardinals fan.
Yep, because he was from Arizona. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not
different
at the same
times,
time, but yeah. Small world. Yeah. Small world. Anyways, I think that's good for this week. I mean, hopefully you're pregnant. Again, by the time you guys are actually listening to this, she will certainly be pregnant.
Yeah.
Because we're shooting these in the future or in the past. In the past, I guess, from when you're listening to it. But, yeah, I mean, we had a great honeymoon. We're hoping we made a baby in one of these beautiful countries we visited. Yeah. And,
if not, we're going to Mexico.
Yep.
Fairly soon, and then we're going back to Europe in a couple months. So.
Yep. So we're just going to keep pounding it out. But, feel free if you have any questions or would like to, we're going to be asking...
Talk shit about my zodiac? Whatever.
Yeah, we're going to be asking for a bunch of advice and other things on the podcast for people that have kids. Pretty much people that have kids. If you don't have any kids, I prefer you not give me advice on parenting. But we're going to be asking about all sorts of stuff. Parental hacks, best products. So if you ever have any suggestions or comments you would like to make, not only could you leave them in the podcast comment section, but feel free to email us at tryingtoparentpodcast@gmail.com.
Shoot us a DM.
Yeah, shoot us a DM on Instagram or a message on Facebook, and we'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah, we would love the interaction and the involvement, and give us all the tips because we don't know anything yet.
Yeah, this is a team sport, you guys. You're basically raising our kids too. So
it takes a village.
It takes a village, legitimately.
Heyo.
It's normal size. It's going to be a normal size baby. So, all right. Well, it's been fun. I love you, babe.
I love you.
Happy episode number 2. Got about
He's
2,000.
got 2.
He got 2. If you can name that movie,
kudos
to you. It's close to Christmas. We won't be doing another one before Christmas. So
Christmas next weekend.
Merry Christmas, y'all. And if we don't talk to you by the new year, happy motherfucking New Year.
Happy New Year.
2022 is going to be a good year for us.
Yep. They keep getting better and better, my dear.
That they do. All right, baby.
Good job.
We up out of here.
Dead ass.
Yeah. I'm trying to be a parent, but I gotta run an errand. promise when I'm back, I'ma feed my kid a carrot. Damn, this stuff is tough, man, I thought it was inherent. I'm trying to be a parent, I'm trying to be a parent. Sometimes you gotta drink cause that shit can be kinda stressful. Sometimes you hit the blunt cause that green will help you rest, yo. You know your ass be slacking when you gotta look up things on YouTube. Like, bro, how you wipe your baby boo-boo? Now welcome to the podcast, trying to parent and make moms laugh. Who you know got it like the King's family. Amanda and Sean, it's the name G.